But when he was a child, he and a friend went out to that building in the forest, in the woods. He said that there's a park in town they used to play soccer at together after school. And that he and his friend kicked the ball too far into the trees. And they started walking in. And they were talking and walking in and going. And then they came upon it, this structure, this ominous building that somehow had architecture that had yet to exist but was still already falling apart. He said they started hanging out there. And one day, after many visits, he very much had returned many times. I think she said it had been almost a year now. But one day, they were trying to see, how much of the third floor they could get around. And they were trying to scale something somewhere. She didn't give me details, but his friend fell. And he got shocked. He didn't know what to do. And so he just sat there and sat there. And he was crying. Just this little kid, like in the forest next to his dead friend, just crying as the sun setting. And it got late and dark. And they started hearing voices. And basically some people from town had put together a search party when he didn't come home and when his friend didn't come home. And they found him there. Just this kid bawling his eyes out over the body of his dead friend. And then she said he spent a year without talking. All he did was hum. All year. And he eventually pulled out of it. Not in the ways you're supposed to, obviously. Apparently, adequate psychiatric care would have been really effective in helping him maintain his mental health over the years, but he did not receive that. And eventually, after he retired, it all kind of spun out. Maybe in line with some other thing, but he's been pretty insistent on never going to see a doctor about it. She said that she gets the impression that he feels like he almost deserves it sometimes. That he, wants himself to be under the thumb of this experience. And but after she told me about all that, I started thinking about parks. And I started thinking about the park that I had my birthday in the photo album. And she took me back to talk to him. And I asked him, where is this park? And he told me there's a park on the north end of town, right up next to the forest. It's got a big open grass field. So obviously, I went home and I asked my mom where we had that birthday party from the photo book. And she told me it was at that same park. Nice side of town, right up against the woods. Big grass field. I tried to call Tyler, but I think he's getting worse. I think he's gonna... I'm worried that he's had the kind of traumatic experience that the old guy had. You know, one that just spirals out of control and you don't get help. Because he's also pretty stubborn. I tend to have pretty stubborn friends. So I went alone. I skipped school on Friday. And I went to the park in the morning. When I got there, all the playgrounds and, jungle gym stuff was new. But I remembered going there when I was really little. I think that birthday party must have been the end of when I went there, and I don't know why it changed, but yeah, it was the end. I didn't go there second half of elementary school. It definitely didn't go there after that. But it started to feel familiar, the more I stood there. And I don't know, I feel like just standing in front of the trees, just watching them sway side to side in the wind, watching the grass pick up. I feel like on any other day it would have been absolutely breathtaking. Just like really gorgeous and really beautiful. But it just scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of me. It was like the entire woods were alive. They were just towering over me, leaning down, looking at me, staring back at me. Like a malevolent giant. And then I thought back to the other week. And to what I said. I had that moment, and Tyler and I were running around the building where I felt like I was just angry. And I wasn't afraid of anything, and I would confront anything for Elizabeth, and I felt that again. So I went in. I feel like this is my problem, that I'm going to keep putting myself in situations like this, convincing myself that it's for the greater good, and in reality it's absolutely not, that I'm actually just pushing this incident forward, or, angering this ghost or whatever the hell it is more, and but I can't leave her again. I feel like if there's something worth investigating, I can't leave her again. So I just walked in. It was maybe 8:30 in the morning. I don't know why he drew the map this way. Maybe he lived on a different side of town from that park growing up. But the old man's map, there's kind of a cross section where the woods nestle into town. The park is up here in the northern part, but the map had us coming in from the southern section of the woods and going up to the building. It's maybe a 25-minute walk every time. From the park, the building's barely 10 minutes into the woods. And I saw it. Right there. And I hadn't been back since I heard about the kids dying, you know? I'd been messaging some people I knew and asking around about what happened, and I called a couple people, but I hadn't been back. I hadn't been there. And there was police tape all over the place. But because, you know, there's no roads or anything to drive a car up to it, when we pulled up to it, we did some kind of strange maneuvers with the vehicle through the forest, and it was a little questionable, but I don't think the police are willing to do the same. They had hiked through the forest with us. So there was no patrol outside the building. But I didn't feel like I wanted to get closer. I didn't feel like I had to. I didn't know what I was there to learn or there to witness or whatever, and I didn't want to step any further into it than I needed to. So as soon as I could see the building, I just sat down on the ground. And I just watched. I just watched it. I just watched the wind whistle through the trees, and I watched the shadows move around the edge of the building as the sun crossed the sky, and I just watched. It felt like I watched the vines grow, you know. And I don't know how long I was there, but it felt like it was starting to get, not dark, but it wasn't as bright, for sure. I didn't eat all day. I don't know what kind of conviction was in me that I didn't move or go anywhere or do anything other than just sit there and watch. But I kept dozing off repeatedly. I was trying to, you know, prop up my face with my fist and stay vigilant and see what I could see. There was no reason to think that I would actually catch anything happening. Maybe more kids coming, or maybe this was all actually a plot by someone who was manipulating the building in some way. I don't know what I was expecting. But gradually it did actually get dark. Sorry. I'm still thinking about the funeral. There was something that Elizabeth's mom said during the funeral. She said that motherhood is a gift. It's not just a gift to the mother, it's a gift that mothers give to the world. And she felt like she'd been given the most amazing gift. And that whoever that person was, whoever that being was that gave her that gift, was the same one who held her down and cut her open and took it from her. And when she said that, she kept looking at me. Like I said, I've been contending a lot with life. Thinking about what we're here to do, why we're here to do it. If I was Elizabeth's dad, if my daughter went missing and there were 2 teenage boys running around giving people half answers about what happened in the woods when they left with her and came back with her car, I would have showed up at my house with a shotgun. I wouldn't have the patience and the power that she has and the poise that she has right now. I wouldn't have it. I would have thrown myself in the hole at the funeral before I asked if I wanted to say something at the funeral. You know? I don't know what kind of magnificent power is inside of her right now, but I hate that she has to deploy it, you know?